Extreme 3D Knife in the Heart Acrylic Nailer Tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish. Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to be showing you this really cool extreme 3D knife through a heart for Halloween. And I wanted it to be kind of like what I call an anatomically correct cartoon of a heart. So it's not like just a simple heart shape, it's got, you know, the various ventricles and all of that. And so it's very, I don't know, it's kind of gruesome and yet very simple. It's just, I love it. It's just so, I don't know, it's Halloween with just being very simply creepy. It's so much fun, and it's very similar once again to a video I did last year. It was my other Halloween tutorial that I uploaded. Also, I said it's basically like one last year, but this one is a little bit updated. So I'll put a link to the one I did last year in the description box below, but that one is a knife that goes through the nail. So this one is a knife that goes through a heart. It's very similar, kind of same concept, but I just wanted to update it a little bit. And I promise there will be some more other things that you haven't seen from me before coming up in the future. So don't forget to click subscribe to see all my future Halloween designs as well. So I'm going to begin by sculpting out my nail with just a layer of clear acrylic. I wanted to keep the background of this nail very, very simple since there was going to be so much happening on top of it with the heart and the knife and the drips of blood. I just wanted to keep this part as basic as could be. So I would recommend either going with either a clear nail or a white nail or something that was maybe even just kind of like a nude or something, but don't go too crazy with the background because you don't want the focus to be on the color of the background of the nail. You want it to really be on that knife that is plunged through a heart. So after you have that nail nice and formed with your clear acrylic, I'm going to go ahead and just file it into shape using my e-file. I started out with a pretty coarse bit that is going to remove a lot of acrylic very quickly, so I'm just going to take that and get rid of any issues basically, and then refine the surface of the nail with a much finer bit that's going to give it a really nice velvety texture, which is beautiful to sculpt on. So then on a nail form backing, I'm going to be sculpting out my knife. So I'm going to begin by sculpting out the blade, and I'm doing this with black acrylic. And so I'm just going to have my blade created there, kind of sharpen up the edge of the blade with a silicone tool, make sure it comes to a nice point. There we go, got that nice blade. And then you're going to want to add the handle to the end of the blade and try to make it so that the handle's a little bit thicker than the knife as far as the actual thickness of the acrylic goes. That way it's going to, because the handles are definitely thicker than the knife, but you can't, you know what I mean, do what you can. So then after you have that, you're going to want to flip the knife over, take it off the nail form backing, and add the thickness to the other side of the handle of the knife, because that was just going to be flat since it was attached to the nail form backing. You can't do anything with the other side, but you can definitely add some to it now. This is also going to add some strength to your knife. Since the blade of the knife is mostly contained within the heart, you don't have to worry too much about that breaking, but the handle is exposed pretty much. So you want to make sure that that does have some thickness on it so that it's a little stronger. Put some gel top coat, matte gel top coat onto your knife. Cure that about 15 to 30 seconds in an LED light, and then burnish in some really pretty hollow chrome powder. So I'm going to be doing that to one side of the blade, and then I'll flip it over and repeat the process. Put on that matte, or not matte, but no wipe top coat. Cure it, and then go ahead and add your powder. So there I have it, just putting on that really gorgeous hollow powder. It looks amazing. Make sure you get all the edges of the blade, and then apply some gel sealer over the top of the entire blade. And I did that to both sides, and then when I was curing it, I just turned it ever so slightly so that I cured both sides. Then I'm going to be gluing some silver caviar beads to the end of my knife so that it looks like it's got those two little rivets on the handle that are holding the knife together. And then attach your knife to your nail, going at a little bit of an angle with some clear acrylic. So after you have that, just hold it on for just a couple seconds for that clear acrylic to set enough to hold the knife in place. And then fill in the gaps around the knife with some more clear acrylic. You really want to make sure that this knife is well attached and not going to be too delicate or break or fall off or, you know, any of that. Plus it'll make it easier to start sculpting your heart. So then with red acrylic, we're going to start sculpting out the heart. So I'm just going to kind of, I have, like I said, my cartoon realistic photo of my heart. So I'm just going to kind of base this off of this. I'm going to do parts of it with red and parts of it with purple. So I started out with the red. I'm just going to be adding a very basic shape, nothing too detailed at this point. So I've got it going up, over, and down the other side of the heart. So you're going to need to make sure that you thicken up the edges so that it doesn't look like the knife is, like it's a heart that's really flat that's kind of laying over a knife. You need to make sure that it does have that 3D quality to it, and that it looks like the knife is really just going through a heart that was nice and round or plump, I suppose. So just keep adding your different, all your different things, all the different yeah, all the different heart parts. And then I'm going to be adding the aorta at the top, so it's 3 little things coming up the top, just like that, kind of like fingers. Use the tip of your brush to create a little bit of what looks like a hole in the tops of each one. So then that's pretty much what I did for the red. So then I'm going to be taking some purple acrylic and adding the rest of the things, like I'm going to be doing the atriums there. So there's the first bit of red, or I'm sorry, first bit of purple acrylic on the one side, and then adding the purple acrylic to the other side and kind of continuing it up and folding the acrylic around the red. And I know that at this point it's not very detailed. A lot of the other details, like the different veins that are on it and different things like that, are going to come later on with paint instead. So just add your little bits of the basic shapes of the heart with the red and the purple acrylic. And a lot of the other highlights and making sure everything looks very detailed, all that'll be done with paint. So keep doing that. And the same thing when you have when you want to add like the little ends, make sure that you put the tip of your brush, or poke the tip of your brush in there, just to give it like it's got a little bit of a hollow essence to it. Then add a drip of blood going down to the tip of the nail. So I would recommend having either like a stiletto or a coffin shaped nail or a claw shape, so that it does come down to a tip, so it's not just like a square. And then add a little bit of blood on the end of the knife. And then with red paint, I'm going to be doing all the highlights. So when I'm doing this highlighting, my red acrylic is a little bit more of a blood red, actually. It's a little bit darker of a red than my red paint. So when I have my really bright red paint, it's going to do really good highlighting on my red without making it look like the color is diluted, or like it's, I don't know, if you try to highlight it with white, it just won't look as bright. So definitely try to find a lighter shade or a brighter shade of red to do your highlighting. And you can do some little bits of outlining with black, some little detail definition with black, and the same thing with purple. You can start doing some details on the purple with purple. But right now I'm still doing some of the different outlining and just definition with black paint. And then I'll go through and I'll add some of those details with purple, like I said. So just add, this is pretty much the same color of paint as I was using with the acrylic, so it matches really well to add the finer details that would have been very difficult to do with acrylic. It's nice to be able to have the option to do that with the paint. So now to do the final little highlights on your heart, on the red portion of your heart, do that with a very pale pink. Instead of doing it with white, that's going to make your heart look kind of wet and moist looking, sort of. So just do those with a light pink color. And then on the purple portions, I did do those highlights with white, but I diluted it a little bit so it wasn't quite so bright of a white. And then apply some gel sealer to the background of the nail, up and over the blood drips on both the knife and on the nail, but don't go over the heart. So just go over all that background stuff, cure that, and then apply matte top coat over the heart. And like I said, those little highlights are going to be what makes it look wet, but having that matte versus glossy contrast is going to make your 3D art really show up and be very vivid and easy to see. So I hope you guys like this. This nail is so cool. That holographic knife, I think, just adds a really fun touch. But like I said, I did do something similar last year that was a different chrome knife, and it was an aquarium nail with blood, so it was pretty cool. So I'll put a link to that in the description box below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!